This is my 19th video on my attempts to construct a small 00 gauge layout. See part 1 for my reasons for doing this, and my lengthy series on my N-gauge railway modelling for more interesting stuff with trains actually running, etc. Though there will be a very brief bit of running in this video. I've been building a number of wagons from kits, and I thought I'd just put up brief build reviews of each kit as somebody might be interested, and the videos will remind me of how I found the various kits. I went with these kits partially because I do enjoy building things from kits, but also partly because British Model Trains in Cambridge, Ontario, the only dealer near me in Canada who sells British stuff, had a number of these kits and didn't have corresponding ready-to-run wagons. This part deals with my experience building Ratio Kit 5072 for an LMS 12-ton vent wagon. I believe this same kit is now sold by Peco as PC 572, but I was working with an older Ratio version. Here's the Ratio packaging for the kit. It'll come in the standard blue Peco packaging now with a transparent box. The illustration on this box honestly shows the assembled kit without markings or couplings, which is fair as no decals or couplings are included with this kit. Here is what is included: mid-grey plastic parts for wagon sides, light grey plastic parts for roof and everything else, except for the wheels, which are simple plastic castings in black, plus one sheet of instructions. Here's the sprue of small parts for brake rigging, buffers, etc. Note that there is quite a lot of flash that needed to be cut away. The small parts at top centre especially are totally meshed into the sprue with flash. You may have noticed that there appeared to be no obvious part for the floor of the wagon. This is because the floor of the wagon is made up of two parts, seen at left here, which also include the sole bars and axle boxes and some of the brake rigging. All of the parts are seen here after being removed from the sprues and cleaned up as best as I could do them. The first thing to do is to glue together the two parts for the base of the wagon. Since the axles will run directly in holes in the axle boxes cast into these parts, it's very important to get these parts glued together solidly and precisely. No special bearing pieces are provided. The pointed ends of the plastic axles just pop directly into holes in the plastic axle boxes. Buffers and coupling hooks are glued into holes in the parts for the ends of the wagons. The pins from the buffers and coupling hooks stick right through the wagon ends and need to be filed down so that the wagon ends can fit properly against the end of the wagon floor. The wagon ends and sides can then be glued around the wagon floor. The fit is quite good so long as you file down the ends of those pins. The wagon roof fits on top. I checked the fit, but I didn't glue it at this point as I still wanted access to the interior. At right are parts for the brake rigging. The brake rigging is now glued in place with the brake hangers between the wheels, taking care not to actually touch and break the wheels, and brake levers on the outside. The kit does not include couplings nor any kind of mounting for couplings. I used some Bachmann tension lock couplings that I had on hand. I initially tacked them to the bottom of the ends of the wagons, but that made the couplings much too high from the ground. I ended up gluing several pieces of thick card as shown to get down to an appropriate level for the couplings, and then screwed the couplings to that card. A strip of self-adhesive weights is seen at back. Here I am checking my improvised coupling mount against a commercially produced wagon. They seem to couple up okay. So I reckon the Ratio wagon should be okay with the couplings mounted like this. I glued 2 quarter-ounce weights in place inside the wagon as the kit provides nothing but plastic parts, and this left the wagon so light that it would have tended to be prone to derailing. Here's a little video of the wagon running behind the Bachmann Webb coal tank and a Bachmann open wagon. I painted the axle boxes, suspension, brake rigging and buffers flat black, and also my card buffer mountings. No decals came with the ratio kit. I used some Model Master LMS Wagon decals to add the LMS letters and a running number to the wagon doors. Here's the wagon on the layout with the Webb coal tank. That's the ID Scenes P203 village background behind. Here's the wagon pulled into my little terminal station. It seemed to run fine with the couplings I had put on and the weight I added. Of course, with no real axle bearings, it isn't a super free runner. One more shot on the layout in natural light, and rather dim light, as this was before I received the new light fixture. I decided to add decals for X's to the wagon doors. Actually, this was probably not accurate, as it seems that the X would indicate that the wagon was vacuum fitted, and there's no real sign that this one is. Perhaps I'll remove the X's. Here's the ratio wagon together with a Hornby vent wagon, which I repainted and decalled as LMS. I didn't paint the body of the ratio wagon, leaving the sides the grey colour as they came. More brief videos on wagon kits will follow, as I've done several others, and they do differ quite a bit in some significant ways.